Hello and welcome to Black Metal and Brews, a program in which I degrade myself on the internet for the amusement of between 1 and 12 other individuals at any given moment. Today is March 12th of 2021, and today we are going to do what we always do, I guess. I've got one piece of mail I'll open because I may as well. I have a large beer right here. It's not a fancy beer, so I mean, don't expect much. I've never had it though. Sapporo Black. Ooh, I do like dark beer. And I've got tapes, with some of which I opened, in recent mail bags, and some of which are just tapes I have that I can play in the background. So let's see. I've made the tweet. Cool. People know, and now it's on y'all if you want to come see me or not. Cool. Well, thanks for being here. We're not going to make you wait because I know that some people watch these after the fact. You could be listening to music. Sorry about that. Yeah, the thing automatically generates the YouTube link the second I create the little room for me to broadcast from, and I usually do that 10 to 25 minutes before I actually go live, just so that I've got it all set up and all the right text for YouTube before I do it. But yeah, it does kind of create, a thing where it's just like this pending black screen. I don't know how to create the studio without doing that, so I'm sorry. Thanks for bearing with me. Anyway, let's put on a tape and have a beer. I don't speak French. That's not what this tape is called, but it came from Quebec. Which it sucks too, because like I speak Spanish, but like this Oiseaudeproie. It's a fantastic black metal from one of my internet acquaintances who I've never met, but he and I have been in contact for years, and I don't know how to pronounce his name either, which I'm not going to try. But we have acquaintances in common. He's very nice. He's got this band. He's got a black punk band. He's got like a solo dark wave band. This is like post-punk shit, so we'll listen to that, won't we? Sorry, that's interesting. Because I put it in backward. Hopefully we've got it on the right side. Anyway. So let's find out. I haven't put this on yet, so that's why I'm saying like post-punk. I'm loosely aware, but I've yet to hear a bad project from him. He's got his black punk band is called Oppression. They did a split with Sanguine Eagle a while back, so he's on the fucking level, I think. I forget the name of his personal like dark wave, cold wave project. Otherwise, I'd name check that too. So again, we're not drinking the fanciest beer tonight, but I just needed something, and I don't, I'm, and not in the please help me way, but like I'm not rich right now. I'm being clever with my finances, so these cheap tall cans are kind of what I'm stuck with for a while, and I'm pretty much only drinking when I do YouTube at this point. It's been that way for months. Maybe like once or twice a month I'll drink, not for this. Okay. So that's a dark drink. I can't tell if you can see it because it's obscuring my ability to see the computer screen, which is cool. Okay, so it's bird of something. No, but I think it's pra. Like, let me here. Here, yeah, I don't. There's a link to their Bandcamp. I don't know how to say, like, is it Wiso? Is that how you'd say it? Wiso? I don't know. But Proie. That's a hell of a word. Uh, but anyway, yeah, there's a link. You can open it in a new tab or close this tab and listen to the tape properly instead without my ass. So you can see, I've never had this beer before. I've only had like Sapporo, which I actually quite enjoy. To be fair, as far as like standard big beers go. So smells nice. Yeah, it's good. A little roasty, a little malty. Actually, that's actually really good. I'm gonna get this again. Fuck. Um, I have mail. Do I ever have mail? I don't even know what this is. I have guesses as to what it might be, but like, man, I feel like a fool not knowing what I've got in my hand. It was sent to me by Material World Records, which is, of course, a record store that I literally walk to. But when you order things, they send orders rather than whatever. I believe this was from the record label run out of Material World, which is Bitter Lake. So, I mean, we're going to find out, I guess, because I don't remember what I might have got, but, that's the nature of, like, of everything just being as it is. Like, I mean, it's like, I don't remember anything at all anymore. Oh, my goodness. Okay. Wow, I didn't realize that's what this would be. I guess it's fitting that I picked this. Yeah, yeah. I really, really like him. I don't know how to pronounce his name because I'm, an American English speaker who doesn't understand French, and I, I took Spanish. So, but I really like him. So this. I guess again, good that I picked a tape like this because this package is not from Material World or Bitter Lake so much as it is the final fulfillment of an order I placed with Unseen Forest Patriot, which was a label started by my friend Simone Santana, who passed away in January and did not fulfill the orders that were placed. So I now have his final works. Black metal and bud sounds stressful. I've known a few lawyers in my day though, so we'll see. So I have this beautiful Hand of Glory long sleeve. What an incredible thing! I unfortunately ordered this over the summer last year when I weighed about 30 pounds more than I do now, and I'm definitely not a size medium anymore. I have no say in that matter though. Simone's dead, and I'm so happy to have this shirt. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna wear this every day. That beer's good. And then I've also got a couple of records of his that he put out. So this is a Zarabanda Moon. Zarabanda, I don't fucking know. I don't know how to pronounce it. Zarabanda Moon with Unseen Forest Patriot, the album that this whole label project was named after. Lovingly assembled. By the way, I have to say, this is, you can just tell a lot of care was put into this. These were already being made before Simone left us. The Finnish label Liver Mortis, I believe, was responsible for all the printing on this. And I mean, I can't stress enough, like, the texture of this. Like, this is printed on. This is beautiful. I'm really happy to have this. This means a lot to me. It meant a lot to me as it was, but it means even more now that my friend who made it isn't with us. Fuck off to reality. Which, that is very much the sort of sentiment I would expect from him. Hell yeah. I really wish that I had a turntable and that I could properly engage with this really exciting art that my friend made. I don't have the means right now. Maybe one day I'll have a turntable and I can sit and geek out on all the cool shit Simone made. I still have plenty of his tapes, of course, but you know. And then to go with that shirt, the Hand of Glory LP. Yes. Ceaseless negation of color and joy. You know, you can tell that we're really into that PMA over here. I'm so pumped. The song titles rule. Dream Invasion. No victims in life. Only... I don't even know what it says. This writing is crazy. This is like some seriously misanthropic looking stuff, though. I mean, this was always Dude's ugliest project, and I love it dearly. God. Wherever that terrible light shall burn, vainly the sleeper may toss and turn. His leaden lids shall be ne'er unclose, so long as that magical taper glows. Life and treasure shall be command, who knoweth the charm of the glorious hand. But of black... Sorry, light in here isn't great. But of black oars... gall for him. Jesus, this is hard to read. I can't even read the last two things at the bottom. It's the writing paired with the dim light in my room. And also, I need glasses. Yeah, look at this. Hand of Glory, Simone Santana, rest in peace, 30 years old. I wish we could have had him for easily another 30. Please. I don't know what it would take, but that really sucks, man. Anyway, I didn't plan on feeling things tonight on YouTube, especially not before I'm even tipsy, but you know, here we are, living the dream. Drinking a beer. What's everybody else drinking tonight? It's Friday night. Are you having fun? What is fun anymore? Great stuff, yeah. So I thought, I'm a little moved now, having just opened that parcel, not realizing what it was and what it entailed. I wanted tonight to talk about early gateways into heavy metal, extreme music, we're still going to do that. Today's the 20th anniversary of Opeth's Blackwater Park. That's fucking corny. I feel like people who are refusing to wear masks at this point are not. You can't argue with them. You should just make fun of them. And I realize it's your own mother. It's probably a little harder, but also like, if I can't, have a rational conversation with you, if I can't engage with you on any meaningful level, I'm just gonna laugh at you. I'm going to make you feel like the joke you are. Your mileage may vary, but yeah. And also, I realize Texas. God, Texas is such a different thing. I feel like if you're concerned about safety and well-being, maybe in more of a minority there. I am not the kind to disparage an entire region. I think that's fucking arrogant and stupid. But oh shit! Hey, what's up? Our friends Vinyl Fantasy. I I haunt that store sometimes. It's a good shop. But yeah. Now, if people are not willing to wear a mask, plain and simple, at this point, humiliation seems to be the only route that I can see, that I can justify. Who doesn't love humiliating people that suck? Yeah. So, yeah, if you guys haven't been to Vinyl Fantasy, or you can also go to their website, record store in Bushwick, Brooklyn, about a mile and a half from my home in Queens. Records, comics, and sometimes dogs. You can't get the dogs on the internet, but you can peruse their wares. I do it often, and it's a delight. I mean, like, you can see, like, I've got like Junji Ito, Shaolin Cowboy, and shit just sitting here behind me from that very same store. It's influencing my world, and the people that run it are nice. That's important. That actually, to be fair, that is just as important to me as selection. As somebody who has lived the record store life, lived the bookstore life, the relationships you form in a business like that are possibly more relevant, because anybody can fucking curate a nice inventory, with the right distributors, but not everybody can actually give a shit and make you feel valued as a visitor to the business. So that's seriously important, and I'm not just saying that because they're watching. Yeah, the beer tonight. We've been asked about the beer. This is nothing special, but it's my first time trying this, and I enjoy it. I got it because it was cheap, because I'm really poor right now. It's Sapporo Black. It's quite, I mean, it is like a mass market beer. There's nothing craft, nothing special. But I'm really enjoying it. It's really, really nice, roasty sort of thing. So I'm enjoying it. Hey, you're not part of my scene, but I'm glad you're here all the same, because what the fuck is a scene, I hate that the term free thinker has now also become code for possibly alt-right. Because I like actual free thinkers. I like people who are actually just fearlessly themselves. But I mean, fuck the sketchy shit. Obviously, like, there's a difference between being a free thinker and being like, maybe I'm gonna be a bigot. But yeah, being not part of a scene, fuck yeah. That's why I'm sitting here on my black metal channel playing this music, because I enjoy it. So we're talking about our gateways to extreme metal tonight, because it's the 20th anniversary of Opeth's Blackwater Park, which was so when a lot of you who tune in regularly know, when I was like 14, my parents let me use their credit card. I paid out of money that I earned from them, but to pay $25 a year to join the Linkin Park fan club in early 2002. When I was later that year, after I turned 15, one of my friends from the Linkin Park fan club, I made a couple pen pals in there, because I didn't have friends in the real world. I was a fucking weird kid. And not just like I was quirky. Like, I was a troubled, strange kid, and I went to a small school. There was literally nobody else remotely goth or anything like that. So I had pen pals. One of my pen pals ended up sending me a package because she had bought some CDs that she didn't quite enjoy. And one of those CDs, there were two CDs. I loved both of them. There was Blackwater Park by Opeth and Follow the Reaper by Children of Bodom. And at this point, I was listening to Slipknot. I was listening to Spineshank. I was listening to Korn. I was listening to, AFI. And I'm not disparaging any of those bands. This is not a judgmental place, and I still, I stand by all of the shit I liked when I was a kid because it meant a lot to me. But to suddenly go from like Static X to putting on Blackwater Park, and there's that slow creep in when the album starts of like, it almost sounds like somebody's like manipulated and droned out, like, hitting the hammers on a piano or something. And it just comes in so heavy, and I didn't know what to think. My first thought was that my friend who sent it to me was right, and that it was not a good CD. It was not good music that I was meant to have. Especially once he starts singing, and he's got that thing where I know that he doesn't do like the full, like, thing, but it was just like thing that he does or whatever. Like, I wasn't ready for that. And I was much more ready for the Children of Bodom album at the time because it had the really pretty kind of Nintendo sounding guitars and keyboards. I always remember. I remember being, 15, and that song "Bodom After Midnight" with that thing. Like, that was like fucking drug-like for me instantly. But because the Opeth album was so overwhelming to me, and also because I wasn't really allowed to have my door closed a lot of the time as a kid. Like, so if I'm doing chores or some shit, I had to have my door open so my parents can make sure I'm doing chores. Blackwater Park became my soundtrack for doing so many things that I did not want to have to do, and it made them better because I'm sitting there, cleaning my fucking room, and Michael Ackerfeld's, and where they're going like, and it felt real good. I like that. I don't know what's going on with you, but I love that public sub. You can leave that comment on my YouTube channel all day, every day. That is amazing. And hey, Breeder Man. Yeah, that shit's classic at the thrift store. I'm all about that. Like, that was such a part of my journey. And the cool thing was, at the time, I didn't know what death metal was. I did not know what black metal was. I did not know what power metal was, what thrash metal was. I'd heard Black Sabbath, but most of the classics even were unknown to me. I didn't know what Iron Maiden sounded like at that point. I didn't know what Slayer sounded like. I barely knew Metallica. Like, because I didn't really like the Metallica I had heard at that point. When your exposure to this popular heavy metal band is Enter Sandman, you may or may not enjoy that. I did not, and that's not some elitist point. Again, I was coming from Linkin Park. There's no higher ground here. It just was my personal journey. But so to have Blackwater Park, where it's not, I didn't realize that it was progressive in any way. I just thought that's what extreme metal was. It was more in every way. It was 10-minute long songs, ridiculous fucking circular guitars, sometimes acoustic, that actually felt like the very, kind of crawling vines that they described in some of the lyrics. It felt just like this majestic decay. It felt like someone, like some old ghost rotting in a bed. It felt like so much. And I listened to it again today, and I listened to that album regularly enough, a handful of times a year at least. But I listened to it today on a walk in the sunshine. I was meant to go to the cemetery, but that didn't really pan out terribly well because the gate was shut. But just, it's trying to kind of get in the space of thinking, like, I first heard this album, about 19 years ago, and it's still one of the coolest fucking things I've ever heard. When I had my death metal band that I was in, Giants Orbiting, somebody once told me, a few people told me, and not in a bragging way, but like we had been like a pure kind of like gnarlier death metal band for our first little bit, and then we put out a single that actually had singing on it, because I do sing, and somebody told me that I sounded like Mike Ackerfeld, and it was the happiest thing I've ever felt, because holy shit. And I don't. That person was wrong. The people that said that were wrong. My voice is far higher pitched and more effeminate. You can hear it listening to me speak. I don't have a deep voice, but that was really, really, really cool to be told that, And at that point, I hadn't even been listening to heavy metal for, it had been about a decade at that point. But, and so now I'm sitting here like nearly 20 years later, like just in a state of wonder at how much that music still moves me. And it's interesting because, like, I spend too much time on Twitter because of the pandemic and because I'm disabled, and those two things don't play well together, because it basically means that I'm stuck in bed looking at the world. And a lot of people are, to be fair, but I had to start a year earlier because I got sick. And so, like, I will share an opinion on Twitter and be like, I think this is good. And somebody's like, I don't know if that's good. And it fucking makes me misanthropic, man. I don't want to know if you dislike the thing I like. That doesn't help either of us. What did you gain from telling me that? So I get all these moments that make me just want to take my toys and go the fuck home and stop playing with all these assholes out there, because it's not helpful. And to be fair, it's usually other music writers. If you guys are watching this, which you aren't, because you know better than to watch YouTube channels, stop it. It's mostly fucking straight cis dudes too. If I say that I like something, you're not helping me or yourself by arguing with me. And I've stopped saying I dislike things, because that's even less productive, to be fair. But if I do dislike something, dear God, man. But yeah, anyway, listening to Blackwater Park today was one of those, oh yeah, like, I could never, ever give this shit up. This is still my universe. This is where I belong. Just maybe sometimes I don't feel like throwing my shit to the wolves. But yeah, exactly. Like, there are huge name acts that I may admit to disliking because they're untouchable. And I don't think it's bad to be honest about what you do or do not enjoy. It's how you do it. Are you throwing daggers at people, especially at the fans of those things? Or are you just saying, yeah, it's not for me? Like, I don't like AC/DC. It does nothing for me. But I'm not going to fucking come at you if you like AC/DC. They're one of the biggest bands in the universe. Of course you like AC/DC. That's cool. That's fine. Sometimes I wish I liked stuff like that. It would be another way for me to connect with people who have a lot of other common ground with me. But I'm not going to pretend to like that. And also, AC/DC is fine without my fandom. Same with Kiss. It doesn't hurt them if I don't like them. Gene Simmons is kind of a dick anyways. I feel fine saying that. But, like, seriously, but if we're talking about, like, some weird-ass death metal band, I'm not going to gain anything from being like, yeah, not for me. It doesn't help them. It doesn't help me. And even the most successful extreme band is probably not in a position to, to just be sitting high on the hog. So it's not like I'm throwing rocks at somebody who's like Jeff Bezos or some shit. It's somebody out there making art that matters to them, even if it doesn't matter to me. But anyway, yeah, Blackwater Park. brought me back into that part of myself today, and so which is good. I mean, that's a part of myself that I like more. I like being a geek. I like being nerdy. Metal is nerdy music. If you disagree, I don't know. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong because I don't believe in right and wrong on matters of opinion like that, but I think you're wrong. I feel like you're wrong. Seems wrong to me. Maybe you came in through something more unnerdy. We're now listening to Korean Jade, by the way. I've been listening to this tape a lot lately, even though it's not new to me. It's called Kiosk Lens. This is electronic music, too, because I find this shit's easier to talk over than metal. Yes, Chris, I'm talking over your music. Chris sometimes watches this. I love this. It's not the album title. It's not anything. It's just like design shit. Too good to be true? Sure. There's a catch. I fucking love that. It's so, like, rather than it saying the name of the album or the artist, it's just like, yeah, like a little barb there, I guess. I don't know. My phone went off a bit ago. What is it? Oh, somebody just saying something nice. One of my friends who usually watches saying kind words about how they're skipping tonight's episode. Thank goodness. I often think that I'm really sick of doing YouTube because it does feel, especially at this point we're a year into quarantine, to various degrees. I know that some people it's like legal shit like in the UK, whereas for us in the United States it's more of like do what you want and try not to hurt anybody. But like for most of us, we're still not doing anything. We're not living much. So I'm really tired of doing these, and not like not in a fuck you way, but like in a. I mean, I haven't had a drink with a friend, and I'm not eager to be fair, but like drinking in front of YouTube. I'm looking at my laptop right now. I'm sitting in the room where I spend 20 hours a day. Like it's a nice room. It's my room, but it's all my things are here. But like I would love for something like this to be a break from life rather than an accent on an experience that is ongoing. That said, I have the first dose of the vaccine already coursing through my bloodstream. That's funny, somebody just asked. So yeah, 2 weeks ago today, I received dose number 1 of the Pfizer vaccine. If you're afraid of needles, I'm not. Perhaps obviously because of these and also my disease where I get an IV all the fucking time. But if you're afraid of them, it's seriously. I literally thought the nurse was fucking with me when she said that she had given me the shot. I did not feel it make contact with my skin. I did not. There was no sensation at all. So for me, painless. The next day, my arm was a little sore, which was a relief to me because now I know that she actually did give me the vaccine and it wasn't just like some trial where I'm part of a test group or something, But so like, obviously my life is about to change in the next few weeks. A week from today, I get the second dose. And then 2 weeks after that is theoretically when I'm immune and safe. I'm really glad you had very light symptoms of COVID. I've not contracted it myself. Many of my friends have, though, and it sounds hellish. And it sounds, too, like some of it lingers, even if it's not that bad. It just fucking hangs out like some sort of ambient unwellness in different ways. So I truly hope that you're okay. That's really stressful, and I'm sorry. But yeah, it's weird thinking like I, in theory, could meet with other vaccinated people pretty soon to do something. And For my part, I'm consciously choosing probably not to, in most cases. Not for lack of love. It's not a misanthropic thing, but it's like one of the things I always liked the least about the world before I got sick, and then before COVID, to be fair too, was that people wanted to hang out and get drunk and talk shit. And I like a more meaningful interaction than that. And it's not that everything has to be heavy and heady. In fact, that's often stressful too. One of my friends who I've had the most fun seeing, during the course of the pandemic, outside, like for walks and stuff, and a friend I actually brought to the Vinyl Fantasy shop, is someone with whom I have almost. I mean, there's an understanding on a human level of one another, but we mostly just talk about music and dogs, and like comic books and shit. I'm not sitting there thinking about like gossip. I'm not sitting there worrying about like some fucking in-group of people and what somebody may have said or done that's gonna suck, and I'm gonna have to like watch a rift between people I care about. Just like grabbing a sandwich with a buddy and like going and fucking talking about Tears for Fears or some shit. That rules. I like that. And I kind of want, so like, I mean, also it's great to have heartfelt, meaningful conversations about life. But God, I'd just love to not be around my sloppy, annoying, drunk friends, and I love them. But I don't know if that's a set of activities that I've missed very much. I miss shows, and shows involve that. But at that point, there's a show, and so I can be like, I've had 3 drinks, and I'm going to dance, or I'm going to be like an idiot doing this, or whatever the fuck it is I do when I'm at a show, depending on what kind of music it is. So it's really weird. Like, I don't want to go inside a restaurant. I don't want to go in a bar. I've managed not to do that this whole time. Of course, I miss those things. It just still, to me, doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel practical. So I'm not going to do that still for a while, because I would rather not be taking that gamble for the sake of my roommates, to lovely people who are not yet vaccinated, or even sure when they will be because they're not disabled. It's the one perk of being a disabled person, is I got bumped up on this. But it's just like it's very, very odd. I'm thinking about like the people who I do want to spend time with. I don't want to hurt them. I'd like to see them and really enjoy that time, and not have something nagging in the back of my mind, like, like, oh man, could my desire to spend time with you be a risk to you? I think that, between the vaccine, which would lower the viral load no matter what if I was asymptomatically carrying it, I think that between the vaccine and cautious behavior, I can have peace of mind connecting with someone I love. So I'm looking forward to that. And maybe with that, things like this will feel more like like they're integrated into a more rich, full existence, instead of it being that I'm coming on YouTube because I haven't seen another person, that I don't live with, or whatever it is. So today I'm feeling a little salty about, the whole thing. Also, it's weird as hell thinking like the door's about to open. I described it to a friend as like I'm being given a key out of this tiny prison, and I realize that I'm just getting let out into a larger prison. So like there's some of the inmates I can fucking hang with, but it's not like like I'm kissing the grass and feeling the light of day. If that makes any sense at all. But yeah. Anyway, classic heavy metal albums. I love that I keep getting distracted and going on weird philosophical and emotional and like social tangents. But I guess you're still watching, or you're not still watching. You are here if you can see this. So yeah, it's Blackwater Park. Children of Bonhams Follow the Reaper. And maybe about a year later, I started. I found that Hot Topic was carrying CDs, sampler CDs from record labels, and I had never heard of these record labels because I was a teenager. And this is maybe late 2002, early 2003, and I'm going to the mall to get these things. I've never heard of Century Media. I don't know what that is, but I'm buying their sampler CD because it's $3. I don't know what Relapse Records is. It looks scary, but I'm buying that sampler CD. It's like $2. And suddenly I'm then realizing that I need a CD by this band called In Flames, and I need a CD by this band Pig Destroyer, and I need a CD by this band called Nile. And it was like the ages of 15 to 17, I think, are a really cool time for music for you, no matter who you are, but especially watching as the early aughts kind of coalesced right before there was that like new wave of American heavy metal thing, or maybe it was at the same time. I don't even fucking know. But basically, like right before the MTV2 Headbangers Ball thing came back, and I didn't have access to that. I've never seen an episode, although I know that it was very important. It's like I was having this personal, this door opened right as a renaissance of sorts was occurring, and it was the coolest fucking thing. And I mean, I'm literally looking at 18 years ago in my life at this point, which is really weird because it doesn't feel like it's that long ago. It feels like it's 2 or 3 years ago. I don't feel old, and I mean, I'm not old, but I don't feel as old as I am. But it's like, yeah, the first In Flames album I ever bought, because that was the first CD, like after buying those sampler CDs I had to have, was Reroute to Remain. I know that that's often, in the eyes of a lot of people, where they fell off, or some people even feel that Clayman is where they fell off. You're fucking wrong, by the way, if you dislike either of those. But I'll let you have it, guitar nerds. God, Reroute to Remain, and what was that Arch Enemy album? It was the first one with Angelo Gasso on vocals. I loved it so much. God, and the second one with her. The early stuff was great too, but I didn't have access to it at the time. And interestingly, a lot of people talk about At the Gates as an important band. I didn't discover At the Gates until I was 18 because they weren't part of those sampler CDs, and I wasn't on the internet really. Like I had, dial up. But I couldn't listen to music on the internet. I could talk about it, and then I'd have to go to a CD store, usually like an FYE or something, or a Sam Goody or a Best Buy, and ask them to special order because they weren't just regularly carrying the shit that I wanted. I remember I found a Cradle of Filth CD at Best Buy when I was 16, from the Cradle to Enslave, and I did not know what that band sounded like, but I knew that I wanted to have that, and thank God it had so many keyboards, because I think I would have hated the shit out of it otherwise. It grew on me. I love Cradle of Filth then, and I still do. But it was definitely Danny Filth's vocals took me a minute, because he sounded like somebody had like like sometimes like a wizard or a witch will cast a spell on a person and turn them into a fucking animal, and the person's like, I swear I'm not a frog, I'm a prince. I feel like somebody did the reverse of that with a cat and made it into Danny Filth. Like there was just this cat chilling somewhere, and some vengeful ass wizard was like, "You're gonna be a person. You're gonna be Danny Filth, and you're gonna make those noises." And I think those noises rule, by the way. But at the age of 15 or 16, I wasn't. Again, I was learning. It took a minute. Does anybody just show up fully ready for everything, or does it take a minute? I don't know. Maybe some people instantly heard some vile ass extreme metal album and loved it the second they heard it, and it was all they'd ever wanted, and they knew that it was for them. And I mean, I knew that shit was for me the first time I heard it, but I needed to get acclimated. I needed to test the waters, make sure that they were cool. Not cool like, oh, this is cool. I wasn't cool at all. I'm still not cool. But I feel at home with it now. But yeah, I don't know. I think there's like three people watching. What did you hear when you were first getting into extreme metal? Like, what took you out of your initial, radio metal or whatever? Which is not a bad thing. We're not knocking the radio, so don't be a dick. I loved every fucking Ozfest band, but what did you hit? What hit, or rather, what hit you, and what did it stir in you? What brought you in? Because I don't think that this is something that you just come to by accident, and it's definitely not something where you just arrive. Something gets its little hook in you, and you feel like you need to know more. I've always been a digger personally. I've always been a collector of things to my detriment. Started with fucking Magic the Gathering when I was like 9. 9, 10, whatever. It's the 90s. Fucking, I'm not supposed to remember the 90s. But like, I had a huge collection of Magic the Gathering cards. And so it made sense that when I started really getting into music, that I would also be ridiculous about that. Industrial, see, and I love industrial. My mother was very into Nine Inch Nails when I was a kid. Like, she bought Pretty Hate Machine the day it came out, and I was 2. I was 2 years old. I was also very much into it as well, but and obviously I know that calling Nine Inch Nails an industrial group is a contentious point, and I don't mean that quite literally. I'm assuming if you follow me, you're aware that I have a strong. I mean, I have a fucking coil tattoo. Industrial music is in my blood. But was it industrial metal that you got into? Like, are we looking at the Ministries of the world, or was it some other path in? Because that's really interesting, and I do know that's a thing. Bands like Pig, obviously KMFDM. There's that trajectory in. I know I dated someone when I was younger who didn't like metal much, but got into it through us dating. But like Cyclone 9 was kind of her gateway. Because it had that stomp. It was the dude from Cyclone 9 clearly loved metal. I guess Cyclone 9's still a band, loves metal, and he would do that whisper scream. And then, and this was the MySpace era. This was like 2006. I had a Genghis Tron song as my MySpace profile song, and she heard that and was like, "This is cool," because she loved industrial music. And she got into metal. And to be fair, that was her own doing. I'm not saying I got her into this, but like, it was an exposure that I was part of. And that was cool. I don't know her anymore, but also, I mean, that was over a decade ago. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Ministry's a great gateway band. I I feel like such a dick because I really do love like unironically. I think I like the first Ministry album even more than the other stuff, but that's not because the other stuff is bad. I just I love synth pop so much. Uh, yeah, and it's weird because like I grew up with a vague surface level understanding of industrial, and I got into metal on my own, but I didn't really know how or where to find more about industrial because I just wasn't exposed to it. I didn't know anybody that was doing it. Uh, when I turned 18, I ended up wandering into a junk shop. It wasn't even like a music shop. It was just like a secondhand store. Somebody had clearly turned in like a bunch of their goth and metal CDs. This person had like it was clearly all from the same person. They dropped off a couple Slayer CDs that I did not buy. But so in this shop, and this is in Fresno, California, 2005. I've been 18 for a month. It's July of 2005. I buy, I go into this shop. I even remember the name. It was just called Juke Joint. I have no idea. I know nothing about the store. Um, I bought fucking uh, the that greatest hits by Bauhaus, the volume one or whatever, where it's got like Double Dare and shit. Dude, so I buy that. I buy Only Theater of Pain by Christian Death, and I buy some other like thing that clearly didn't stick with me because I don't remember it. And on the industrial level, I see this CD that's got a Cleopatra Records thing on it, and so I just buy it because I know Cleopatra Records is kind of gothy, and it's fucking Null Void by Fetus, the 2 CD double EP set, uh, and being introduced to Fetus, it's still one of my favorite artists in the fucking world. Sitting here 16 years later, I I did not understand how something could be so made for me and so not discussed. I mean, and I know that within certain circles it was very discussed, but I was into things like Mr. Bungle and Oingo Boingo, and also then Nine Inch Nails and shit. And so I liked that sort of mad scientist industrial rock feeling. And oh man, getting in, but Fetus was the band that really took me from like my Skinny Puppies and Nine Inch Nails and stuff into like I want to hunt down more music like this, because it just felt deranged. It's really weird living in New York now. I mean, obviously, it's been a minute, but like when shows were still happening, I would go to shows and see Jim Thurwell at shows regularly. I'd see him performing. I've seen him play once as the event, once as a guest singer at another. But like, oh man, he's everywhere here, and I'm fucking obsessed. And I've never said a word to him because what am I gonna say? I love you. Like you don't. There's really nothing to talk about with him. It's not like we have a context to socialize. But also, God, it's so cool just knowing that like the dude wants to attend the same things I do. Even that's cool. Yeah, no, that's so important. Um, Also got one of I think it was the Fetus Interruptus album, uh, with House on Fire and stuff. But like I found as much Fetus as I could fast. But Null Void was the one of those two that I really, really got into because it was like, this is gross. I mean, they were both gross, but I think also it had Verklempt, the single edit of Verklempt on it, and Butter, both of which were catchy as shit. And I was like, yeah, I'm still a teenager. I'm still dipping my toes in. I like the catchy shit more at that point. I still love a catchy thing. That's why we got this pretty fucking synth wash here. But also, now I enjoy Ugly. I like them both. I have so much beer left. I have to talk to you for a long time now. Look at this Fuck! We've got so much time left together, and I don't know why you're spending your Friday night with me. I'm glad you're here. I guess I'm glad I'm here too, for that matter. It's kind of cool. It's got just a little liquid left. Nice little reverberation there. Anyway, I'll try and drink this part of it quicker so that I'm not keeping you here late. I still have to cook dinner when this is all done, and tonight's dinner is going to take a while because I'm making a curry. Maybe I'll make the curry tomorrow. Fuck it. Curry's tomorrow. Tonight I'm going to take it easy. Because I'm doing YouTube tonight, and I don't feel like cooking like a meal that takes an hour after doing this. But yeah, anybody else want to share your intro to metal? I'd love to hear it. Or I can keep doing what I do. Look, I'm grabbing the beer like a fucking raccoon with berries because I'm weird. Also, I prefer to grab it by than this. This always feels... I have this irrational fear that the handle on a mug is going to just snap off. So I often prefer to like do that, which I don't know, man. I don't know. If I understood why I did what I do, I'd probably do a lot of things differently. I'm one of those people who like I will walk around listening to music just like thumping on my chest, or like feeling my structure. So I definitely don't understand why I do fucking anything that I do. I think I have too much energy and too much hand. And I guess I use them as I must. Let's see. What are we going to listen to next? I actually have to get up and find the next thing we listen to, I guess, because I wasn't sure if we would even run this long. Thankfully. Oh, I hate when I do that. Let's see. There's so many things here that I've just already played on this program. Not that any of you are keeping track the way I am, of course, but I like to make it interesting in case you have. And I would be booing and hissing if I were you. Here we go. More ambient music. This is from the Noir Age label out of Miami. Richard Verges. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. He's not the person that made this tape. This is Gafile. And this one I actually cannot pronounce. How are you going to say Yingnies? Is that Welsh? It might be Welsh. I have a friend who lives in Wales. Maybe he can help me one day. I don't think that's Welsh. Maybe it is, though. Hell yeah, finding metal through punk. I went to a couple punk shows before I went to any metal shows. I was already into metal at that point, but I wasn't treated terribly well by the kids at the punk shows. But I kept going anyway because I liked it. Fucking Sick of It All show. Sick of It All was super nice to me. The kids in the show weren't. And I remember that, though. I remember that the band was cool as shit, and it was the people in the audience that sucked. It's funny how that's still often the case with the music I like. So this tape came out either very into last year or very beginning of this year. I guess according to this, it's very beginning of this year. Soundscapes, nature, ambient music. I want you to focus on the sound of my voice. With each breath, you will get more and more relaxed. We're not going to do that shit. But that's totally the sort of thing I listen to fall asleep, because I don't know how to sleep without somebody telling me to go to sleep. I have to force my body. And they're like, you're sitting on a beach. You feel the sand between your toes. With each breath, you grow lighter. No, this is beautiful music, but also it's a great backdrop for hanging. Oof. Boy, what would happen if I just ended a video without finishing the beer? I'm not gonna do that, but like, I don't have a lot to say that's interesting today. I end up talking about myself and my experiences a lot on these, because that's what I have. That's, you can't till a field that you're not in. But I don't think I'm as interesting as a lot of you do. Yeah. I mean, that said, I think music is very interesting, and that's what we're here to talk about. Uh, Ambient music. That's an interesting genre to me, because it's something I have a deep passion for. But I got into it with a very functional understanding of ambient music. I was not coming to it to relax initially. I wanted to dissect it. I didn't understand. Like a lot of people, I quite literally began with Brian Eno's Music for Airports. Which is mostly piano. And I just wanted to understand that, because I found that and Koyanis Katsi and Philip Glass pretty much right at the same time. That's what happens when you're a music geek and people start showing you stuff. Those people were maybe on the internet, and I was not, and so maybe they were giving me the very 4chan Mew stuff. It's still fucking great, to be fair. But it's interesting because, I do find the music relaxing and I do find it peaceful. But I find ambient music to be very mentally engaging. Just because it doesn't have words doesn't mean it's not cerebral or commanding our focus. There's such a presence. Like this. Like, this feels very earthen to me, personally. There we go. Finished the beer. I'm sure some of you have gone and some of you have come. So tonight's beer was nothing special, but it was the first time I've ever tried this, and I actually quite enjoyed it. Sapporo Black, roasted, malty, very, very balanced. It's not like a life-changing beer, but it's affordable, and I'm poor. And I actually do like when bigger breweries make beers that are slightly more complex than just a standard lager or IPA. Not that IPAs are not complex, not that lagers are not complex. Don't skewer me, beer people. But I like when somebody makes something that is not just one of the same basic forms, and it's from a bigger brewery, because then that's a chance for those things to get more exposure. I'm getting another text. Oh, one of my friends has some small good news. I will congratulate them on it when we're done. What I should be doing is sending a text saying, fuck you, I'm on YouTube, come watch. But I actually don't want to be watched. I mean, I don't not want to be watched, but like, I don't have such a burning desire or need. If anything, when I do this, it almost feels like it's my, even though I'm connecting, it feels like it's my unplugged time. I'm not looking at Twitter. I'm not looking at what my friends are doing without me. Not that anybody's doing anything without me nowadays, to be fair, but you know what I mean. Like, it's almost like this place I come to not be in my FOMO, not be in my, oh, everybody's interacting with each other and not with me, or whatever the fuck it is. You know, is there such a thing as like that, you know, in the age of a pandemic? It's hard to say, right? Olaf, good to see you. How you doing? But yeah, so it's, you know, I like coming to do this, but I just realized I've got this fucking wild tuft of hair. I don't know what to do with it. If I were to cut it off, it would look very odd, but I can't. I've tried combing this down, brushing it into place, and it's weird because you see, like, I tuck it behind my ear, and it looks weird as hell because it's not meant to be tucked behind my ear. But on the other side, I don't have that problem. The hair doesn't do that. We're at that point of the night, I guess. We're tucking you. I guess I have to tuck you now too. It sucks being vain, doesn't it? What if I didn't give a shit what I looked like? My life would be better. Oh god, that's atrocious. Whatever. So Olaf, since you seem to have just joined us, one of the things that we talked about tonight, because we're like an hour in now, was gateways into extreme music. Like, and for me, it was Opeth's Blackwater Park. It was Children of Bodom's Follow the Reaper. A little after that, I got into In Flames, Nile, Cradle of Filth. You know, very, very big, obvious bands. Like, what were some of the bands that you got into that took you from the mainstream into deeper, darker waters? Because I know that you've got a passion. I don't, you know, if it's Burzum, tell me it's Burzum. I don't give a shit. Oh, shit. Okay, I haven't been on Facebook as much lately because I don't really use it. I mostly used Facebook like my personal one. I always forget that I have one for the Black Metal and Brews page. I mostly used Facebook when my grandma was still alive because it was how she kept up with my life. And now that she passed away, I don't really use Facebook as much. I will log in tonight, give it a read, and check it out. Thank you for sending me a message. That means a lot. Okay. I'm going to do something sinful. I have a snack. I'm going to eat a snack on camera because I'm hungry. Oh, no. Oh. I'm a fucking goblin, dude. If any of you actually knew me, like when I'm not sitting here in like host mode, you'd be like, ah, what a vile shit. I'm very good at being outwardly interesting. And then you get to know me. And it's like, dude, that's the guy that's like eating peanut butter off a spoon. Ah, shit. I'm sitting here like pouring popcorn onto the floor. Thank goodness I cleaned my floor, and only I live in this room. Hell yeah. Mutilation. Oh, I remember the first time I heard Remains of a Ruined Dead Cursed Soul. Fucking just crushed me. Like, the French Black Legions are such an important thing for me getting into extreme music. that, like, when I was like 19, I really got into Toka. Is that how you say it, Toka? I should know, and I know that they're canceled now or whatever. They weren't 15 years ago, so don't fucking come at me. Um, that album, Not Steeds, or Portland Beat. Oh, that was so fucking cool when I was a teenager. I was so excited by that. But and man, that's what's up. Having friends that share music with you is the coolest thing. I have a lot of those. Uh, yeah, yeah. At this point, yeah. But again, way back when, that was not common knowledge, and I'm not going to pretend that that wasn't part of the path for me. Just like, like I will say, I never got into Burzum because I truly didn't. But like, if I had, I would own it. Uh, there's a lot of bands that I used to love that I don't, get to have that same experience with anymore. That's kind of part of listening to music. Also, learning what kinds of art you can live with and what kinds you can't. Um, or what kinds of problematic art you can live with, rather. Because obviously, there's a difference between like maybe a dude is annoying, maybe dude's an asshole but not a bad person, and then there's like, oh, dude is a full out Nazi or whatever the hell. Like, I'm not gonna fucking, I'm not gonna like fuck with bands like Goatman, but like, I'm pretty sure that some of Slayer fucking voted for Donald Trump. I'm not gonna like yell at people if they really want to listen to Slayer. It, it's I mean, I don't really listen to Slayer, but you know what I'm saying. Also, everybody's an asshole. To be fair, I'm an asshole sometimes. I'm just try not to be. I try not to be one, but sometimes sometimes it's unavoidable. No, I know. There's a lot of unpopular opinions. I have to have the good right opinions because I have a platform. I also think that if you're not me, if and I mean, or and I know, Olaf, you've watched this enough times. You've because I am in the business of making recommendations to people, I have to have the most stringent standards on what I can and cannot share and promote. It doesn't mean that I think that somebody else is a bad person if their bar is set to a different height. There are certain things where I'd be like, yeah, dude, you're like hanging out with the white power crowd, get the fuck out. But I have a lot of friends that still listen to the Smiths, even though Morrissey is what Morrissey is. I'm not gonna come for them. It's like, fuck. But I'm not gonna tell you to listen to the Smiths. That would be a stupid thing to do. Unpopular opinion: Venom is better than Bathory. Is that an unpopular opinion? I mean, I personally like Bathory more, but I feel like that could go either way. I feel like both of those bands are incredibly well loved, and they do very different things from one another. Bathory is one of my favorite bands of all time. The song "Baptized in Fire and Ice" was one of those gateway songs for me into that sort of black metal, if that can even be called black metal. Hammerheart isn't really a black metal album, is it? But and I love Bathory so much, but also like if you're picking Bathory versus Venom or Venom versus Bathory, it's not like you're losing no matter which side you're on. It's like, if you were to ask me between Celtic Frost and Bathory, I do not know. It really depends on what fucking day of the week it is, which one I'd say. But either way, I'm making a great choice because I'm listening to Celtic Frost or I'm listening to Bathory. I'm not
I'm not put out by that experience, you know. I'm trying to think if there's any classic bands that I don't love in black metal. I'm not really a Mayhem fan. Oh man, yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. There was I had an internet friend, not somebody I knew in real life, who showed me a lot of black metal that I later found out to be an SBM. That person kind of turned out to suck anyway. Uh, so it's like, yeah, you're showing me all these bands that I later find out are doing the fucking Sieg Heil, and I'm Jewish. And you're like an unrepentant shithead. Like, you know, and again, I don't think that the world is not a polite place. I try to be polite. The world is not a good place, even necessarily. I try to be good. I don't need everything to be perfect and squeaky clean and saintly. But Sieg Heiling is like way past where my personal line is. And for somebody to just be like, yeah, I'm unbothered by that. Like, it's like I don't want to keep the company of people who would keep the company of people who would have me dead. Just maybe not. Like, you have to pick me or the Nazis. That's a pretty fucking clear line in my book, because the Nazis don't like me. And I have no choice in that. I didn't ask to be Jewish. I just am. They have made every choice to be a Nazi. So, like, they're the ones that have agency in this matter, and they fucking suck. Also, they're probably not very smart or interesting people. That's another thing. Like, I mean, to be fair, there's plenty of left wing people I know who are also really boring and fucking unpleasant. But what gets me the most is that most of these edgy, dangerous, tough, evil people are not really that fun or interesting to talk to. It's like, oh, you've got your theory on why the world is the way it is, and somehow you've concluded that the Jews are the reason. Really? Like, I worry about your critical thinking skills, my man, because if the Jews were in control, I wouldn't be sitting in my bedroom talking into my laptop. If the Jews were in control, this Jew would be in a way better place in the world, having a way better life. I actually really like that you're asking me these questions, Olav. I am not only for abortion. I am a strong advocate for the right to choose in any circumstance. A lot of people discuss things like situations of, this is inherently a content warning situation, I guess, if you're watching this and sensitive. If somebody has been sexually assaulted and impregnated, that is often the thing that like liberal democratic types use. They're like, oh yeah, but for me, I'll take it a step further. Even if somebody has been, uncautious in any given way and has found themselves pregnant, bodily autonomy is an important thing to me. Because for me, in my life, as a child, and we're not going to go into the details, many decisions were made about my body that I had no say in that have impacted my life as an adult. And even if I didn't have that experience, I would probably still hold these beliefs, but it means hard to say. Obviously, we are always shaped by our life experiences. But I believe that you have autonomy in your skin, in your body. I don't even the conservative notion of life beginning at conception didn't really come about really until the 60s, when the Republicans needed a boogeyman here in the United States to start rattling cages with, when they realized that racism wasn't going to be a really viable thing anymore, now that they had to start treating people of color like humans. They still don't treat people of color like humans, of course, but It's besides the fucking point. But and I understand loosely how if you are the person who's impregnated somebody, you might feel sad if they make a decision that you wouldn't like in that regard. It's between y'all. It's between the two of you. And ultimately, the person who has to carry the baby to term is the person who I think matters, whose opinion matters most. And Olav, I'm still, and I say that with no disrespect to you, should you want to articulate your reason for being kind of against it, I'm happy to hear your rationale, because this is a place where I think, even though this is a heavy metal and beer thing, I do think that ours is a subculture in which a lot of meaningful issues are not handled in a meaningful way. And I'd love to discuss that with you. I am pretty much, I'm entirely immovable on this subject. This is a core belief of mine that cannot be altered. And I'm also not going to talk down to you. I know that I'm, 13 years older than you. But I, at the same time, do not believe that older and wiser is a fucking metric, because I've known a lot of people older than me who are dumb as shit. So like, please know that I'm not going to be an asshole to you about it. But yeah, I think that if someone has a uterus, if someone is capable of being pregnant, they become pregnant. Ultimately, it's their body. They're the ones stuck with it. I've never been capable of being pregnant. And because of that, I would feel really frustrated, to put it lightly, if somebody else, not in my body, not in my experience, were to tell me that they thought they knew better. Because again, and again, that has been a situation to which I've been subjected. I've had decisions made about my body for me by people who were not me. That I'm like dealing with the ramifications of 20 years later. And like some of it, I really, some of it doesn't impact me whatsoever. Some of it does, and I just think it's And see, that's an interesting point that is regularly made, and I do loosely, vaguely understand where people come to the conclusion that there is, that there is the pregnant person and the fetus. I do not believe that a clump of cells is inherently alive. I don't know the moment at which it should be defined as alive. Obviously, past a certain point in a pregnancy, someone becomes, someone being, the fetus. There are more signs of what we define as life. Is there a consciousness? Is there not? I don't know. It's just like I can't tell you if a mushroom is conscious. But at the same time, I'm damn well sure that nobody's stopping, people with, people from like masturbating and like spilling their seed everywhere, and that, that ejaculate could totally become a baby, could become a person. And I think that's the thing. Like most of the arguments in favor of carrying a fetus to term, no matter what, stem from the same logic that could then lead to you should only fuck to procreate. You should only get off if you're procreating. And I think that both of those are fundamentally wrong. If you want to, if you want to have sex with someone who can't conceive, that's cool. If you want to blow your load wherever the fuck you want. That's not a place of conception. Uh, that's cool too. Like I don't really give a shit. The overpopulation argument is ridiculous because I think capitalism is making it harder for our planet to support people than it needs to be. But yeah, and oh, love, I understand that what you're saying. That you're not being an absolutist. You are somebody with whom I often sweetly disagree, and yeah, I don't think I don't. I think the hypothetical 9-month deep abortion is a non. It is a talking point that is used, but it is a reality that doesn't occur. Because at that point, you're not aborting a fetus. You're like that's not something that happens. What was the term, like partial birth abortion or whatever, where people are like basically, oh, the baby came out and they killed it. Like that, it is a sensationalized thing that is discussed solely in conservative circles. And my friend, whose name is also Ben, nails it on the fucking head here. It is a point that is now, it is no longer just the domain of the evangelical, of the conservative, but that's where the nucleus of it was born, and that is where it has grown. But because of the nature of information and communication, it's been disseminated through culture, and so a lot of these talking points against abortion and against bodily autonomy for people who can be pregnant, many of them are scientifically unviable. It's not, and it's not that you are bad or stupid if you've come to believe that, because a lot of people talk about these things, and because I'm not a scientist of this nature, I'm not a scientist at all. There's only so much of that I'm comfortable, sticking my neck out on. But there's so much misinformation solely designed to tug at your heartstrings about these poor babies. And I give a shit about babies. I give a shit about every human, every living thing. I think that more often than not, though, it is used to rob pregnant people who could be pregnant, of what little control they have over their own life in a world that is heavily engineered in favor of cisgender men who already are running the show every other goddamn way. And and it's especially telling. And of course, there's a stereotype. A lot of these powerful people are very against abortion, except for when it benefits them, because they don't want their sexual partner to have that child. And of course, there are some people who that is a steadfast belief that even if they didn't want their partner to have the child, they would still do. I'm not going to deny that or take that away from them. But by and large, I don't even think a lot of the people who put out some of the most vile rhetoric on the subject, I don't know how many of them say it for anything other than some sort of points, because there is social capital in far right or conservative or Christian cultures. There's social capital that they gain from that. Just like, to be fair, if you live like me, if you're like, I'm an anti-fascist, just in saying I'm an anti-fascist, a lot of people are like gonna fucking lift you up just for that simple statement. You don't even have to fucking fundamentally back it up in any way. And I think that's also shitty, to be fair. I think that your anti-fascism should be an act, not a declaration. I mean, yeah, declare it. By all means, that's an important thing. But, yeah. Yeah, I love that. In a modern society, sex shouldn't equal pregnancy. Every person deserves the freedom to control when they become parents while having sex without repercussions. That's exactly it. I think a pregnancy is not a punishment. If you are pregnant and you are anything other than elated, every single party in this experience will be worse off for it. The child that doesn't exist yet but will is worse off. The parents are worse off. I see no good. No, and Olav, I know I don't think that you're conservative at all. I'm not, again, I'm not throwing darts at you at all, but and I know, and I know that you're living in Norway. I don't know what the culture is like in Norway. I've never been there. Your English is better than my Norwegian. Never apologize. The point of language is to communicate and be understood, and I understand you. So don't apologize for that. And I don't. And also, for that matter, it is clear to me that I don't think that you personally are necessarily concerned with controlling somebody else. You show up on this channel a lot, and you seem to have a good, compassionate heart, and I think that that's what informs your decision to be concerned about these children that aren't yet born. And that's the thing. Like, I have empathy for that. I've come to a different conclusion about what that all means. And yeah, Ilana, my friend who owns Final Fantasy, I stand by your decision too. Not that you ever need my approval, obviously, but you know me. And I'm backing this as the fucking talking head on this channel. Yeah, I think any reason is a good reason. If you're not enthusiastically ready to bring a human into this world, then that human shouldn't be run into this world. That would be bad for everyone involved. Everyone, especially the kid. That plans to go to shows this year. I would like to. I would love to have plans to go to a show, but I don't know of any yet. In a week I'll get my second dose of the vaccine. In theory, I can do more things, but because I'm living in New York City and there's just so much more at stake and so much more going on here, I'm very much playing it by ear. I'm making music with friends once I'm fully vaccinated. Probably just for recording purposes for now. Some of it's always going to be just for recording because I have like an international thing I'm working on. But I don't know. We'll see. I would theoretically love to see a show this year, but it's very much a matter of testing the waters day by day, and week by week, and seeing where we go. Are any of you planning on seeing any shows? It was a judgment-free zone, because every region, every city, every person is having a different experience with the pandemic. I happen to live in one of the places where shit got ugly early, and hell yeah. Yeah, if there's shows in Chicago, I have a lot of friends in Chicago. I don't know anything about what's going on, but and yeah, that's the thing. I figure if I see any sort of music, it's going to be near the tail end of the year. See Mayhem? I've never seen Mayhem. I'm not a big Mayhem fan, but that's not me throwing rocks. I've heard they put on a great live show. My friend Andy, Curtis Brignall, has this band called Kaina, and he's playing a show in December in England where he lives, opening for, well, he's not opening. There's like 6 bands, and he's like second to last. It's him in A Forest of Stars. I love A Forest of Stars so much, and that's in December. And there's part of me that wishes I could fly to England and go see A Forest of Stars in Kaina. I've seen Kaina play before, and it was phenomenal. His music moves me. Also, he's my friend who I love dearly. He just put out a new record. You should go buy it. In fact, we're gonna drop the Bandcamp link in here in the chat. There. I just said that link in the chat. Kind of take me away from all this death. It fucking rules. He's playing a show in December with the Forest of Stars in England. I don't know where in England because I didn't bother to look because it's so far away from me. Why am I gonna torture myself wondering what Andy's doing? But I saw that he's doing it. So that would be the dream. Is 9 months from now I'm in England with one of my best friends watching him play with a band that I love that I never thought I'd get to see live. And dude, yeah, if you just have tickets to see a band that you're not a big fan of, that's still a great reason to go because like I miss shows so bad. I would go to a shitty show right now. You could tell me that like Five Finger Death Punch was coming through, and I wouldn't go, but I would think for a second about it, and then I would say, no, I'll stay home. I've got a book to read. There's always something better to do than Five Finger Death Punch. I've never even heard them. Wait, have I? I've probably heard them, but I know what that is. I don't need to know the details to know the shape of the thing. God, man, fucking shows. I mean, the last show I saw was Mr. Bungle, which is as good of a last show as any. But I'm thinking all the shows that were taken away from me in 2020. I missed Einstürzend Neubauten. I missed The Residents. I missed Faith No More. There were others. Oh God, there were others. I missed so many important shows that I was supposed to see. I was supposed to see Fucked and Bound with Haunted Horses. I was supposed to see that band, the English band Life. They kind of sound like The Fall, but not. They kind of so many good shows I missed that I had tickets for. Some of them got refunded. Some of them I'm just out the money for. Whatever. I hope the bands enjoy it. But yeah, what a weird thing thinking that I have not been to a show in 13 months. That's not the life that I want to live. So once it's safe, once it feels safer, I'm going to do more. God damn. I saw the ruins of Beverest in the Green Room at Roadburn. The Green Room is one of the stages. It's not like a green room backstage. And the sound in there wasn't great for them, so I didn't sit to watch it, which made me sad because Unlock the Shrine is maybe, I'm not going to say in absolutes, but it's one of the greatest black metal albums of the 21st century. One of the greatest albums of any genre of the 21st century. And the new record is amazing. I didn't love the Takadum Tudum EP, and I didn't love Exuvia. I liked it. It wasn't like my favorite from them. But literally everything else in that band's catalog is at least an 8 of 10 for me or better. Just fucking Ruins of Everest feels like getting trampled by like a fucking warhorse of some sort. It's amazing. But yeah, I mean, especially those first two full lengths. I remember, because again, I'm 33 and I was not online in the way a lot of people were. So it was 2005 when I first heard them. A friend of mine put Unlock the Shrine into my iPod because I didn't even have a computer. I had an iPod and I would go to people's houses and let them put music in my iPod. Put Unlock the Shrine on my iPod, and I would just play my whole thing on random. And that song Summer Decapitation Ritual came on. And I was probably not paying that much attention because I was 18 and walking around or something. But then that middle part comes in where there's like this kind of fucking pomp and marching sound and fanfare. This very medieval, jaunty sort of thing. And then the guitars come back in with these horns and shit. And I was just like, okay, I don't know what the fuck I'm listening to, but this is so goddamn cool. And yet, Rain Upon the Impure is an oddly poor-sounding album considering how great the album before it sounds. But the songs on it are so good that I do not care. I listen to dog shit-sounding music. I'm a huge... I mean, as we were talking about earlier tonight, I'm a huge fan of like the Black Legions bands, the French Black Legions. I'm too far gone for production to matter to me. But I say that completely understanding and appreciating people who don't see it the way I do. Because, I mean, fuck, man, I get it. I'm just, you know, I'm in my own little cave, but I don't seek to deny you your enjoyment of the things that bring you joy. But yeah, Rain Upon the Impure I love. Foulest Semen was also fucking huge. Foulest Semen just basically felt like Rain Upon the Impure Part 2, but with a bigger sound. Also, it's called Foulest Semen of a Sheltered Elite. What a great record. Like, what a great name for an album. Dude, yeah. I mean, Olav, to be fair, being a teenager in the aughts, because I'm 33, I'm turning 34 soon. So I turned 13 in the year 2000. I'm quite literally a teenager of the aughts. Like, that is me. I always had a tape deck because like I made mixtapes as a child. Obviously, I was not part of the tape trading scene, but like I played cassette tapes. I've gone through like 6 copies of The Cure's "Standing on a Beach" tape since I was a kid. There's a romanticism to some of that is accurate, but there's also a lot of back in my day bullshit where people are remembering things more fondly than they should. Obviously, I didn't have Spotify. I had a dial-up internet connection, and I was totally, going to the record store and bothering the guy who was 5 years older than me to tell me his favorite bands. And I would buy a CD because, CDs were kind of the main mode in that era. And I loved everything about it. I loved the slow process of discovery that I would buy like 2 CDs a week because I had a job at Taco Bell as a teenager, and that's what I'd do with my money was buy a couple CDs. And I'm fully a believer in if you've spent money on something, you're more or had to work to get it, you're going to be more likely to spend time with it because you've invested in it in some way. But I think there's also something to be said for how frustrating and closed off a lot of shit was, and how sometimes you wanted to hear something and there just wasn't a way. I remember buying a music magazine I'm going to Google what year this album came out because it's one of my favorite records. What year did Salt Marie's list? Okay, yeah, in 2003. I'm 16 years old. I buy this industrial music magazine, and they've reviewed a new Nurse with Wound album. It's called Salt Marie Celeste. It is a 1 hour long song. It's just one song. It's the soundtrack to a ship sinking to the bottom of the ocean. Like it fucking takes on water and creaks and breaks its way down as it sinks. It's a real sunken ship. And this album is about that. I remember reading a review of this magazine in 2003, and I had no means whatsoever of finding that music. I did not know how I could hear it, how I could buy it. There was nowhere for me to go to hear this Nurse with Wound album. I remembered the name of this record. I remembered the description of it. And it took me 7 years until 2010 before I was able to find any way of hearing this album. And thankfully, the review in that magazine was so good and stuck with me so much that I remembered the name and I searched for it. But I realized that I'm a weirdo. That's also part of why I write about and talk about music, is because I am the kind of person that was that influenced by a music review. And that's honestly one of my favorite albums. I'm glad it didn't let me down because it would have really sucked if I waited 7 years to hear something and it sucked. The most morbid, darkest, heaviest, darkest black metal. I mean, it's probably not going to be something all too esoteric, to be fair. Some of my pinnacles of black metal as far as disturbing art are like early Gorgoroth. before Pentagram, they had the demo where the song Ritual was called Sexual Blood Gargling, and the original vocalist had the most disgusting way of singing. It sounded like somebody being tortured. That early Gorgoth demo, I think it's just called Demo 94. I'm going to go to Metallum right now and look it up. I know that's not a terribly exciting thing to say, but it's true. Yeah, it was either a sorcery written in blood. Yeah, it was a sorcery written in blood. The very first Gorgoroth demo is phenomenal release. So disturbing. I love it. Also, as we were talking about earlier, mutilation, remains of a ruined, dead, cursed soul. Holy shit. It's not that heavy. Neither of these are that heavy, but they capture such a disgusting energy. I mean, they were also some of the earliest exposures I had to cult underground black metal, and they're still some of the ones that stick with me the most. As far as dark and heavy, that gets more complicated. There's a band from France that I saw live in 2009 that I really love called Merrimack. I'll type their name out. And I'm drawing a blank on the name of their album, but we're gonna pull it up because I'm just going to Encyclopedia Metallum. Yeah, okay. It's called Entropy and Life Denial. And to be fair, it's not that uncommon sounding of a black metal album. But I truly believe that I don't often like well-produced black metal albums. I like the rawness on the edges. But I think that Merrimack's of Entropy and Life Denial is one of the most perfect specimens of timeless sounding second wave-ish black metal. It's aggressive, it is furious, it is dark, it is ugly, but it has this very strange sort of melody to it too. Every song has something that hooks you in. It's not necessarily catchy, but it's not catchy. It still gets its claws in you, and it stays there. So those, I guess, would be 3 points for me. And yeah, oh god, Sorrow Galaxies. Yeah, no, Mutilation is incredible. I don't love every single song and album dude's done. He's a strange guy, may knock, but I do think that in black metal there, it's still, even on a bigger level, it is a genre where even large artists are still often obscure to some degree. I don't believe that a band like Mutilation is a big name for any reason other than that they actually deserve it. There's bands like Dark Space that I think are really important too. Obviously, and consequently Paysage d'Hiver, where they're treading a different territory, but it's very important, very dark territory. But I don't know. I'm really bad at putting things in terms of absolutes, because instead of trying to say this is the most, or this is the best, or this is the darkest or heaviest, I just say that this is what is moving me today. This is what has captured my attention right now. And to be fair, I've heard so much black metal that is not good, that if something captures my attention, that alone is worth it to me. I mean, there's a band called Bleg. Blech. I don't know how to pronounce it. That is really fucking good. I mean, that's a newer band, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't. If I even am able to remember the name of a band at this point, there's a good chance that they've done something interesting or remarkable. And I don't know if I would say Mayhem is a band of sellouts, although Hellhammer as an individual has said and done things that I cannot abide. And I don't need people to be crazy. I'm not crazy. I'm not dangerous. I'm Ben. I'm boring. I live in New York City. I spend all day on the internet. But that said, I do like art that is a manifestation of somebody's actual turmoil and darkness. So I get that. And unfortunately, friends, I have to end this stream a little early. Neither of my roommates is home, and I just received a text message asking me to take care of some things around the house. The animals need to be fed, and they were due to be fed an hour ago, but nobody's home except for me. So, with that in mind, I had more fun tonight than I thought I would. Let's do this again soon. I've been writing a lot more, so maybe you're actually going to get to read some posts on my website soon. Thank you for engaging with me, especially Olav and Ben. But I mean, all of you, and Alana too. And yeah, that's the thing. I find myself spending more time with Dodheimsgard than anything. And I wouldn't say they're the most of any sort of thing. But also, DHG is like fucking perfect. So I mean, it's kind of hard to. Sometimes we do grow attached enough to things where it's hard to move beyond them. But yeah, and Ben, I just might join you. We'll see how it goes. We'll see what shape my night takes. But thank you guys for being here. It's been a pleasure spending the last couple hours with you here for Black Metal and Brews. We're going to do more of this soon. And if you're not already following Ben Brain Smasher, you should be. Go watch those dudes marathon like nobody's business over there. And it's much more robust and exciting than me doing my thing, to be fair. So thanks for being here.